A lot of times, too, the Jewish stereotype, I don't even know why y'all are mad. Oh, you own everything. Oh, what a bad stereotype. God, I would love that shit.
Comes from in Nazi Germany.
I would love that stereotype.
Nazi
Oh, we
Germany-
own everything.
Oh, hold up. This
I want to speak to the point that's made in that video just as quickly as I can. I understand the knee-jerk reaction to hear that, you know, Jews have all the money and power. That's not a bad insult. I would love to have that. Okay, there's a difference between like base-level dogged insults that could be thrown at people and philosophy. You know, insults are things that we might label groups with. It's this general discomfort or disposition to not like a certain group of people. But from a philosophical standpoint, that's when there actually is like a basis to enable a person's prejudice and to then leverage it against a group of people and to inflict mass damage. There's a big difference between these. The insults, those exist for everybody. They don't just exist for black people or Jewish people or whoever. They exist for everybody. But from a philosophical standpoint, the reason why this conspiracy about Jews having all the power in media and Hollywood and Wall Street, the reason why this is far more dangerous than just insults or basic stereotypes, it's because when you have a philosophy, that can actually be used as a truthful justification to take action against a group of people. So if I were to try and liken this conspiracy about Jewish people to something that an African American might experience, I would say, imagine if you started seeing trending TikToks or certain celebrities tweeting things about phrenology. Okay, so just quick history lesson. Phrenology was a fake pseudoscience that was pushed as truth about how the literal anatomy of the brains of African Americans were inferior. That there were components that were missing in comparison to a white person's brain, components that are there or are not. But it was latched onto and used as scientific racism to justify why slaves were actually subhuman. Okay, that was a philosophy that perpetuated the mistreatment and the murder of hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of slaves because of this fake truth, this web of rich lies that are being confidently purported as truth. So then you take the philosophy about Jewish people having all the control in media and in Hollywood, and the reason that that's not a good insult to throw around, and the reason why it's dangerous is because that is literally the philosophy that was used by Hitler to convince the German people to uproot Jews from their society and to send them off to concentration camps. He explained, see, the way that these philosophies work is everybody is predisposed to prejudice, and nobody likes to feel as though they are wrong about their prejudice, and so they are always waiting to indulge the prejudice with some sort of evidence that says, oh no, you're right to feel this way. You're right to not like that group of people, and here's the evidence why. See, Germany was going through like immensely difficult times after World War I because of the Treaty of Versailles, but in the 20s and the 30s, they're really struggling. And so they were looking for somebody to tell them who was to blame. Here's the problem. Here's what we need to do. And it's done very slowly over time. It's not just point blank saying, oh, the Jews are the problem, let's get rid of them. It very slowly will make these incremental little hints at, oh, they have the control, they have the power, they have the money. And because they're in control, they are to blame because things are so bad. And it ramps up and it ramps up. And over the course of 15 years, and the whole theory of the Volk, and actually trying to like dilute down where families come from, whether they're Jewish or whether they're this or that. And they actually started to build up this like racial profiling system and a science and a belief and everything to why Jewish people needed to be uprooted, and there was justification to murder millions of them. Okay? That's the danger of a philosophy. People are waiting for their prejudice to be enabled. Just like phrenology gave a science and a network of lies to explain why slaves were subhuman, this Jewish philosophy, this exact one that we're seeing a reemergence of, a frightening reemergence of, is the same one that Hitler used, and he also used it to describe why Jews, in particular Soviet Jews, were subhuman, Untermenschen, subhuman. This is not okay. And the reason why you might hear people say, like, don't even talk about it, is because it has such a massive potential for danger. People want to enable the prejudice. We need to instead question our prejudice, not look for reasons to enable it and to justify it. That's what this is. It is a blatant lie, and it's something that Jewish people have been dealing with for hundreds and hundreds of years. So don't think because like, oh, that's a good stereotype. No. It's actually very dangerous, very dangerous. We have to use our brains. Don't be one of those German citizens who hears this guy talking very confidently and vehemently. Well, that makes a lot of sense. He describes how he can make things better. He can make Germany great again. Oh, and who's to blame? Okay, well, then let's send them away. They're not allowed to have pets. Oh, they're not allowed to have radios. Oh, they have to go to these camps to, get exercise and get sunshine. That way, then they'll be better. Oh, well, now they're actually getting gassed and killed by the millions. Well, they didn't know that until later, but the point is, if philosophy is very dangerous, insults and stereotypes are also dangerous and they're very harmful, but only to a certain extent. Once there's a philosophical network, a conspiracy being pushed, that's what has true potential for danger. So don't get the two mixed up, and also please do not tolerate it. Use your brain. As a collective, we should be pushing conspiracies away. And I know that anytime you start to speak to something and people's reaction is to say, shush, don't talk about that. I know that we get defensive. And when we get defensive and people tell us not to talk about things, we say, well, why? Well, why shouldn't I talk about it? Hey, hold on. There actually is some truth to this. Don't tell me to shut up. Don't get defensive. If people are doing that, it's because they have good intentions. It's because they understand the history of it. They understand the danger of it. And they don't want people to, oh, I need to be open-minded about it. Oh, we just have a difference of opinion. This is not a difference of opinion type of thing. You don't need to be open-minded about this. I don't know how many more history lessons we need, how many more millions of deaths we need recorded in the history books before we stop being open-minded about certain things and just be responsible, mature, intellectual adults and say, oh, there is good reason behind not thinking certain things, good reason behind not believing everything that you hear, good reason to not indulge your emotions the second that someone gives you an answer and gives you a scapegoat and says, you're right to be prejudiced. This is why. You're right to be upset. Here's who to blame. Okay? You need to stop, think, don't let your emotions get the better of you. Emotional reasoning is what will lead to racist, prejudiced beliefs, and especially when a philosophy is being purported to try and justify those feelings and those beliefs. So don't buy it. I mean, let's not do the insults either, but especially not the philosophical thing. Those conspiracies, the phrenology, the Jewish people having the control of media in Hollywood, enough. Kill it. You're a responsible adult. Let's move on. Let's evolve. Can we agree to do that? All right. I'm sorry that took so long.